Hello guys, I welcome you to this second edition of our full stack development course. In this particular video, we're going to be looking at the CLI. So the CLI stands for command line interface. So it's just a way of handling operations on your computer, but in this time around, you are not making use of the usual graphical user interface. We are going to be making use of a command line interface. So the command line interface is just a way of telling the computer what we want to do at a particular time using text. So in this type, we are not making use of any mouse tool or any other pad to control what we do on the system, but we're basically using the keyboard to type, and then when we type, the system runs this command, understands it, and then gives us the result. So let's take a look at my slide. So the command line interface. So why command line interface? So now, most people may not understand what command line interface. So it is very important that I give you some little explanation of what command line interface stands for. So the command line interface is a text-based interface that is used to interact with the computer. Again, it allows users to execute commands by typing them. So when a user types a particular command, that command is executed by the computer and then performs a particular operation. Operations like creating a file, creating a folder, deleting a file, renaming a file, copying the content of a file, reading the content of a file, and so on. We can do virtually everything that your mouse can do. We can still do it with the command line interface. Alright. Another one is that the CLI is an essential tool for developers and systems administrators. So if you are to be a developer, which of course is the reason why you are here in this channel and spending your time with me, I will tell you that the knowledge of the Linux command line and the Windows command line is essential, especially that of the Linux command line, because we are going to be making use of it several times whenever we want to work on the server. Again, is that it gives us more control and efficiency compared to the graphical user interface. Now, let me show you what the graphical user interface is, or what it may look like to do some particular tasks on the Windows, on the build tool, which is the graphical user interface, as well as what it will look like when you are working on the CLI, which is the command line interface. Alright? So, let's know, I've already told you why you need the CLI, okay? But this particular slide here will provide you with more information. I will leave the slide in the comment section so that you can access it and download it and make use of it or study it if you want. Okay, it helps us to streamline development tasks and workflow. It enables automation through scripting. It is essential for server management and deployment, and then it provides powerful tools for version control and debugging. These things may seem too heavy for a beginner, but here in Learn Pro, our job is to demystify web development and make it as simple as possible for everybody to be able to understand the concepts. So we are going to be looking at some of the commands. Some of the commands we are going to be looking at are commands like the basic navigation commands, the file operation commands, viewing and editing files command, system information commands, redirection and pipeline. So we're going to be ending it here, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to be exhausting everything on the window on the CLI, which is the command line interface. Alright, so I am going to go straight to the practical. Let us see how we can do that. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is to make sure that we actually have the command line installed on our system. If you're making use of the Linux operating system, you already have Git bash, because Git bash is the one we are going to be making use of. If you are making use of Mac, you already have it. But if you are making use of Windows, I'll show you how we are going to do what? Install it. So let's go on to install it. So just type Git bash on your search, and this is the first link you see there is their official website. So you can just click there and then click on download for Windows. You can see it here, and once you click on this, it will start downloading. So it's going to download. So you can select the bit, either 64 or 32 bit, and download it. I already have it, so I'm not going to go ahead to download it, but you can install it and follow up. So we are going to follow up here. So let's search for it in our application, Git bash. As you can see here, this is Git bash. So I can click on it to open it. I'll make it full screen, and then I will need to make it a little bit bolder so that everybody can see what I am doing. All right, now the first command that we'll be looking at is the navigation command. So we'll be looking at the pwd command, the cd command, and the ls command. So the pwd command is used for printing the working directory. Now what is a directory? A directory is just like a folder, or okay, let's just call it a folder, but a directory is a folder. So whichever folder that you are working on is going to be displayed when you use pwd. Alright, so you know the CLI does not show us the visual interface where we are working on. So because of it, we use this command to identify where we work on. So but before we proceed, I'm going to show you how the command line interface looks like. So this is the Git bash, and the Git bash makes use of the Linux command line interface. There are so many command line applications out there. If you're making use of Windows, we have a command line that we call the CMD, or what some people call the Windows command prompt. So if you go to your Windows, if you're making use of Windows, you can type CMD and hit enter, and a command line interface. And if you look at this point, you'll see that it says command prompt. So this is Windows command prompt. It is the same CLI, but the difference here is that the Git bash is working on the basis of the Linux operations, while the command prompt is working on the Windows operations. So we are going to look at them differently. So but at this moment, I'm not going to be looking at the Windows, but the Linux. Alright, so I'm going to close it. There are so many other ones in the Windows, like what we can call the PowerShell, Windows PowerShell. So if you want to access it, you can just type PowerShell, and this is the PowerShell. You can just open it and use it to work. But at this point, let us concentrate on the Windows, on the Linux commands. Let's see the point at which we are. You can see that we don't actually know where we exist in this computer. If you look at it, you can see that it is basically empty. It's showing us an empty screen. So to display the current working position that we exist in, we are going to use this command called pwd. So once you type pwd, you do what? You hit on your enter key. So let's see. So we are actually currently in the C drive, and inside of the C drive we are in the users, and then inside the users we are in this particular folder. So let me show you this in a simple GUI tool. That's when I say GUI, I mean GUI. That's graphical users interface. So let's look at that. So at the graphical users interface, if I go to my file and then go to my C drive and then go to users folder, you can see this particular folder. If I open it, this is the actual location where I exist in that Linux. Now to confirm it to you, what we are going to do is we are going to go to the CLI and then let us see if it is actually this particular place that we exist. So what we are going to do is to list the content of that particular folder. So to list the content of a folder, we use ls. So we hit enter and let's wait for it. So we can see that there are so many files and folders that exist within this particular place, but let us just take some particular files and folder. Let us recognize some of them, and then we look into the GUI tool and see how whether they are similar. So we can see Bootstrap Studio Contact, DMJS payment, document download, MVs, favorites, links, music, and so on. So let's go to the GUI tool. We can see the same thing. You can see it here, DMJS, Bootstrap Studios, MVs, favorites, music, and so on. So this is the actual folder that we are, the current working directory. So, but at this point, we are only making use of the command line. So we are not looking at whether the graphical users interface, but we are concentrating on the command line interface. So to clear my screen, because you can see that I cannot see everything that I have here, so what I will do is to clear this screen. Clearing this screen doesn't affect what you are doing, but it helps you to have a clear screen where you can work with. So what I will do is I just type clear and hit enter, and everything is going to be clear. Alright, so the next command that we'll be looking at is, so let's look at our slide and see. So we are going to be looking at the cd command. Now the cd command is, cd means change directory. So if you want to navigate from one folder to another folder, if you want to move from one folder to another folder, you use cd. Now cd followed by the name of that particular folder that you want to move into. Okay, so let us move into a folder, but before then let us identify some of the folders that we have there. So let's do ls again, and then we have a particular folder that is called Richard1. So let's move into this particular folder called Richard1. I'm going to clear it, and then we say cd and then space Richard1. And this is case sensitive. If you use capital letter in the place of small letter, it's not going to work. It's going to give you an error. Okay, if you use small letter in the place of capital letter, it's also going to give you an error, because this is a command, and a command follows is case sensitive. Commands are case sensitive, so you have to take note of that. Alright, so if you look at this point, at this place, you will see that we are actually at Richard1. To confirm it, let us use print working directory to confirm it. So we say pwd and hit enter, and you can see that inside of this particular folder that we have moved into the Richard1 folder. And if we do ls to see the content of this, you can see that it is an empty folder because it doesn't give us anything here. Let us confirm whether this is an empty folder. Let us go to the graphical users interface. Let us look for Richard 1 folder. We open it, you can see this folder is empty. So this is actually what the command line does. So the command line is just the same functionality with your graphical users interface. But the difference here is that the command line gives you more energy or more enablement to perform more operations faster than the view tool. Because the graphical users interface has to load so many graphics in order to make it appealing to the users. Sometimes it delays in operations. But the command line doesn't need any graphics, so it is very fast. And that is why we say that it is more efficient to work with the command line interface. Let us look into other folders, other commands that we need to see. So we have seen the print working directory, and then we have seen the change directory, and then we have seen the list contents, which is the list. If we want to do more on the list, we can actually do more. But at this point, I don't want to go further. I only want to concentrate on the syllable that we created for this course, even though we are going much further to explain concepts. There are some certain things that we cannot be able to cover within the space of time of this program. So because of it, I'm going to make sure that I drop a file containing all the things that you need to understand here. I'll keep it on the comment section, on this video, down below this video. I'll keep it there. You can download it and use it to learn more of this. So let's look at the file operations. So to look at file operations, there are some key commands that we will need to know. And then those commands are commands like the touch command, mkdir command, which is make directory command, the cp command, which is copy command, the mv command, which is move or rename command, and the rm command, which is delete or remove command. So we are going to make use of these tools, these commands to do some operations now. So starting with the touch command. So the touch command is used to create a new file, most especially empty files. If you want to create an empty file, you use the touch command. So let's go back to our CLI. So remember, we are still in the Richard 1 directory. So what we need to do now is we say touch and then space and the name of the file that we want to create. So we can create a text file. Every text file ends with .txt, just like your images. So many images that you have some images that ends with .png, .jpg, .jpeg, .gif, .svg, .ico, and so on. These are picture formats. So for text formats, we have .txt. So we are going to create a file which is a text document. So it's going to end at .txt. So let's call it anything. Let's call it word.txt. And if we hit enter now, we are going to have that file created. And we cannot know if this file is actually created if we don't use the ls command. And the ls command is going to list this particular file to show us that it now exists within that directory. Let us confirm that with our GUI tool. So you can see that in this particular folder, Richard 1, we now have Word. And you can see, if you hover on it, it says text document. and it is an empty text document, because if I open it with notepad, you can see that it is empty. Alright, that is how to create a file on the CLI. Now, to create a folder, how do we make a folder? Remember, a folder is a directory, and if you want to make a directory, what you do is you use the command we call the make directory command. So let's see it. So we say mkdir, which means make directory, and then space the name of the folder or the directory. Let's call it Python directory. So let's call it Python. If you hit enter, it has been created. So let's do ls to confirm if it now exists within this folder. We hit enter, you will see that Python now exists there. Now you will see that there is a particular convention that the CLI uses to display its content. So these ones that are light blue are the directories, while these ones that are white color are the files. Okay, so you know the difference between a file and a directory. A directory is the folder, while a file is the particular document that you are working on, or maybe the document you are looking for. Let us look at other command line commands. Okay, so we have the cp command and the move command and the remove command. Let's go back to CLI. So the cp command is used to copy content of a file into another file, while the move command is used to move from one folder to another, or to rename a particular file that is in existence. Okay, so if you want to rename a file, you can also use the rm command, while, sorry, not rm, but the mv command. Rm command is used to delete or remove a file. So take for instance, let us remove the word.txt document here. If we want to delete it, what we are going to do is we say rm and then the name of the file. So the name of this file is word.txt, and hit enter, and then if we do ls, you will see that we only have the Python folder in this particular folder, which means that the word.txt has been deleted. But if you want to delete a folder, you have to append -r to the rm. Okay, let's look at it. If we want to use rm and then we say Python and hit enter, you say it reports to us and says that rm cannot remove Python. Python is a directory. So to remove a directory, you cannot use ordinary rm command to do that. So what you do is you have to use rm space -r. This -r appends and says to the command line that this is a folder, this is a directory and not a file. So now the space, the name of the file, of the folder or the directory that you want to delete. So in this case we say Python and hit enter, and this has been done for us. If you do ls, you can see that this is completely empty. There are several other commands. Let us do some other commands, but before then, let us do some little task. So let's create a file called my name, and it's going to be a text file containing my name is Richard, or whatever your name is. So let's do that. We go on to say tosh space my name. Now you can see that I didn't put space between my and name. If I want to do this, I can use the camel case. I can as well use underscore to do this, but not space. Take note of that. And then hit enter. We have created a text document, but in this case, this text document is empty. So what do we do in order to write into this text document? So what we need to do is we can do echo space, and then we use this directional flow and echo, and then our quotes. You can use single quote or double quote, and then you can type my name is whatever your name is. So in this case, my name is Richard. And then I will use a directional arrow and then place this thing where I want it to be written to. So where I want it to be written to is my underscore name, and we can hit enter. And this has been written into the file. To confirm whether the file now contains some contents, what we do is we use a command that is called cat command, C-A-T. So we can say cat and then the name of the file, which is my underscore name. And hit enter. You can see that it gives us my name is Richard. If we go to the graphical users interface and view this file, you will see that we have my name there, and if I click on it, I cannot open it with the default application, which is the notepad, because I did not append it .txt, and because of it, the file is not recognized as a text file. But I can still, that doesn't stop me from viewing it from the notepad. Now you can see my name is Richard. I can even append something within this notepad and then display it on the command line interface, so that you see that this is actually the same thing. It's just the method that differs. So I can say I am new here, and then Ctrl S to save it. Let's exit here and return back to our CLI, and then we can do cat. Now to repeat the recent command that you have done before, just click on the arrow up key on your keyboard. So once you click there, you are going to see the most recent command that you executed, which is cat my name, cat my underscore name. So if you hit enter, you will see that we now have my name is Richard and I'm new here. This is the same thing that you use your mouse to do, but in this case, we are now making use of command line interface. We are just giving a command to the computer, and it executes that command to us and gives us the same thing. Alright, now let us go more advanced. We want to do something, but before then, we want to perform two operations at the same time. To perform two operations at the same time, what we need to do is just to add the ampersand, double ampersand. Let's do that. So I want to create a folder, and inside that folder, I want to create a file that is called age.txt. So I'm going to do that now. So I will say mkdir, which is make directory, and then the name of that directory, let me call it words. Give a space and use double ampersand, and then give a space and then the second command. So in this second command, I will say touch and the name of the file, which is age. and hit enter. Now this has been done automatically. If I do ls, you will see I have words. And if I do cd words to move into the words folder and hit enter and do ls, you will see that we have, we missed something. So inside the words there is no h. Let us move back. So to move back, we use double cd dot space dot dot. Let us do ls to see. Alright, so what really happened here is that the age was created in the parent directory. But if you want to create that particular file inside that particular directory that you are also creating together with it, what you do is you also do cd to make it, to help it to move into that folder that you are creating. Okay, so let's say let's create word 2 and then age 2 inside that word 2. But you can see we did two operations here. We created a folder and we created a file together. So in this particular command, what we are going to be doing is to make sure that we have the file inside that same folder that we created it together. Okay, so we do this by saying mkdir make directory words 2 space ampersand space cd words 2 space double ampersand space touch age 2. So we run this particular command, gives us 3 commands at the same interval. So we cannot do this particular thing with our normal mouse stuff. We cannot do it, but you can see that the command line makes it easier for us to be able to run so many commands within seconds. So if we do ls, so we will see, ls, we will see that we have already moved into the word 2, and inside that word 2 we have h2. If we do cd space dot dot to return into the parent directory, we will see that we have age, my name, word, and word 2. And then if we do cd word 2, words 2, and then ls, you will see that the age 2 was written inside the word 2. So this is how we can perform multiple operations within seconds. And finally, I'll be wrapping it up with the special tools that are all embedded in the command line, especially the Linux command line. So we are going to be looking at the nano and the vi, or what some people call vim. Now the nano and the vim are text editors that are pre-installed on your terminal. They help us to run or to write text files and then execute them on the command line. It serves the same purpose with the normal text editor or notepad that you see here in Windows. So, but the fact that it is embedded in the CLI, it is lightweight. So let's look at it. First of all, let's clear this screen. So to move into the nano or the vim, you type the name nano. So if you want to go for nano, you can type nano. If you want to go for vim, you type vim. I am more interested in vim because that is the one I use. But I will also show you how to work on the Nano as well as how to work on the Vim. So let's look at the Vim. So just VI or Vim. Either you use VI or you use Vim. So if you do it and you hit enter, it's going to move you to the VI interface. And here you will see Vim or VI improved. And then you see the version of the Vim, and then you see the producer, and it is an open source application. Being open source means that you don't pay. You have the liberty to do whatever you want to do with it. You can edit it, you can do whatever, you can modify it, and you will not be held responsible for any reason. Okay, so to work on VI, we just click on escape. When you click on escape and you click on the colon and then Q. So this colon Q here, just look at this down here. This colon Q is used to exit or to quit the VI. Because here you cannot type anything, but the VI gives you some particular ways to write on it. So to quit it, we use colon Q. If you hit enter now, it takes you back to your CLI. If you want to work on Nano, you just type Nano and hit enter. So Nano is not installed in this particular, sorry, I made a mistake in the spelling. Nano and not Namo. So but if you hit enter and it didn't display the Nano interface, it actually means the Nano is not installed in your Git batch or in your CLI. But I made a mistake on my command. So I've corrected it. So let's hit enter. It takes us to the Nano. And as well as the same method that we use to quit the VI, it is the same method we use to quit the Nano, but the command may differ in some ways. For instance, we used the control or the colon Q to quit the VI, but in Nano we use control X to quit the Nano. Okay, so we can just say control X and we quit Nano. Did you see what just happened? Let's repeat it again. Nano. We don't use colon in Nano. We only use control. But in the VI we use colon. Colon in VI means control as well. So control X and it quits Nano. Let us write a file with a name and then put something inside that file and save it. So let's use Nano first and then we use VI to complete it. So let's do that. We say Nano and then space the name of the file. So let's call the file, let's call it file.txt and hit enter. So we are writing file.txt. If you look at this center here, you will see the name of the file. Now we can just write something. When we are done writing, we can save it, or we can quit it, or we can execute it, or we can do whatever we want to do. So let us quit it with Ctrl X. It will give us a prompt to either save it, cancel, or not to save it. So we will use Y to save it, and then we now use Ctrl X. So it says write file name to write file.txt. So we say enter and it has been saved. If we say cat file.txt, just to make sure that this has been written inside this file. So we hit enter and you see those things that we just wrote. Let us make use of the VI. So we can say VI space. So let's call this one file 2 and hit on enter. It will take us to the VI. Now you cannot just start writing on the VI. You can see I am typing and nothing is happening. But to write on the VI, the first thing you do is you click on your escape and then you click on I. Once you click on the I button, VI is going to enter into the insert mode and then you can then type. This is just a basic VI operations. Now to save it, we as well hit escape and then colon. We can quit it. Once we quit it, it saves automatically. So we can say colon Q and hit enter and it says no write since last change, add exclamation to override. So we can add exclamation to override. Okay, so to save on the VI, what we do is let us click on escape, colon, escape, colon, W. So W is used to save on the VI. Now we want to save and quit it immediately, or we want to save and exit immediately. So we are going to put two commands to run this as fast as possible. So we use WQ to save and exit. Hit enter. We have saved and exited the file. So we can do cat just to confirm that we have written on the VI. So we can say cat file 2. And this is just a basic VI operation. So this is a way we can write on VI or on Nano. At this place, I'm going to end the class for today. If you have any question, you can use the comment section. Put up your questions and I'm there. I will be there to answer all your questions. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you do that, YouTube is going to show my videos to so many people. So you don't know how many people you'll be helping by liking, commenting, and subscribing to my channel. I will see you in our next video. Take care.